but there's 175 pounds in the tank itself. We've got problems. This thing is a heavy turd. A lot of people don't believe it, and unfortunately I got a new phone, so I don't have all the pictures off my old phone to prove it. But when we weighed this thing, when we were getting ready to start taking a racing with the big block, it weighs 3740 with me in it. Part of that is because the fuel tank, a lot of you guys saw the video on Facebook and stuff, that got a lot of views. A lot of people are pissed off about that. But I filled it full of water and then sealed it. Well, water and antifreeze, so it wouldn't, you know what I mean, it wouldn't freeze up. And based on my math, internet tells me it's a 21-gallon tank. The internet tells me a gallon of water weighs 8.5 pounds. I always thought it was 7.5, neither here nor there. But there's 175 pounds in the tank itself. So we went to the dyno, and obviously it makes power. It makes 900. It makes 900 off the initial hit, and then if you look at the dyno graphs, it loses power off the hit. Now that's something that I've been feeling for a long time anyway, and I think I know what the issue there is. If you guys have ever seen, like anybody who uses the 15-pound bottles, they're always standing up in the passenger seat. I'm the only jerk that decided it'd be a good idea to lay them down. So we're gonna do a couple things because, oh my goodness, that meatball sandwich coming back to haunt me.
It was good though.
It was a good meatball sandwich. Shout out Wawa. We're gonna do a few things because this weekend there is a race in the Carolinas, and it is a very reasonable buy-in, no prep, small tire race. So I want to go compete because I haven't raced in a while. And this is where it kind of sucks because we're gonna do a bunch of stuff and then undo it later in the month to go and race Darlington. The surface we're going to this weekend is a lot better. Even though it's no prep, it's a front side of the track deal. The track is a good surface. It's a good tight surface. So we're not gonna, I don't think we're gonna need the weight back there. Part of why we've got the weight back there is because no prep and stuff and street and the really shitty surfaces, we want as close to 50-50 or more on the rear than on the front. So I'm gonna do a few things today. Number one, we're gonna measure the wheelbase and we're gonna mark the middle of the wheelbase. If we have some painter's tape, I'm going to put some painter's tape up the door, and that's going to be my center point line. And the reason I want to do that is because everything in front of the line, if we can save weight, good, let's take it out. Or if there's things that's in front of the line that we can move to behind the line, puts more weight on the rear tires. But I'm going to do a few things. I want to get the fuel tank out. That's going to be 170 something pounds. I'm thinking about going from 2 bottles in the car to 1. The 2-bottle thing was just a convenience thing. We're not using both at the same time anyway. So if I go to just 1, I think one of them 15-pound bottles full weighs like 30 something pounds, like 35 pounds. Yeah. So between 35 and 170 something, I mean, we're going to lose 200 pounds right there. Then I was looking through the catalogs. Shout out Mark had sent me an original 1974 dealer catalog for Nova, and one of the things they advertise is the crash bar and the doors. I looked that up. Somebody online said those weigh about 17 pounds a piece, so there's 34 pounds. The name of the game right now is going to be saving weight because the combination is not efficient. It makes the power, it makes 900 to the tires, but we need to make it easier on the car. The car is so heavy, and that 373 gear is not making it any easier to move that car, to get it started moving and continuously moving. I can't change the gear right now, so what I can do is lighten it up, and I can make it easier to move the car by moving less weight. So the game plan is going to be push this thing, which I'm going to show you guys. This thing is like, it doesn't help that my little rollers here like bent and caved under the weight pressure, and I don't know how much I can put. This thing is not light.
No.
It took us everything in our power to get it over here. Now the garage is not done yet. I've been working on the garage all week, trying to clean up, reorganize, put stuff in storage, everything so we can work out of here. We're going to be working on the El Camino coming up, but what I didn't want to do is bring it in here, tear it apart, and we're still waiting on parts. and then it's sitting here dead in the garage, and then we can't get the Nova out and everything. So I figured, let's go racing this weekend. There's a bunch of stuff I got to do. I got to swap the tires. You know, obviously got to get fuel, got to get nitrous, probably do a new set of plugs, everything, just to get the plugs from the dyno in it. We'll just start fresh. We'll do all of this stuff over again and hopefully go racing this weekend. I also got some new dollies, so we'll get... Oh,
where'd you get those?
The Harbor Freight. And I got a whole bunch of sockets to replace all the missing sockets because, you know, that's just life. You put sockets places and they disappear. So, oh, also what I'm probably going to do is this weekend, I'm probably going to race without the hood.
Really?
Yeah, because one of the things we didn't really talk about in the dyno video, the first few pulls on motor, I did the first few with the hood on, and then I did it with the hood off, and I don't know if it was just that. We didn't change anything in the tune or anything, so I don't know if it was just that, but it made a little more power with the hood off. So if that's the case, it's going to suck because I really like the way that this hood is and everything else, and I don't want to cut this hood up and put one of them scoops in it and everything else. And I don't know, we'll have to figure something out. But I'll probably try racing this weekend with the hood off just to squeeze every little bit of power out of it. I think part of the issue with our nitrous and the reason we're dropping horsepower throughout the pull is not necessarily a pressure issue, like a bottle pressure issue, but those bottles have tubes that go down and pick up the fluid down at the bottom, and they're shaped like this, and mine are angled up so it could be constantly pulling. But like I said, I noticed everybody else in the world stands theirs up when they use the 15-pound bottles, so we're going to see if standing it up makes a difference. Not looking to make any more power than we've already made. Now I know how much power it makes with how much nitrous. Everybody on the dyno video like, oh my god, yeah, it's 900, great, you can't put it down on the street, blah blah blah. That tune-up is the exact same tune-up. Actually had a little more timing in it because we were in humidity down in New Orleans. The only difference was, instead of the nitrous coming on instantly, it came on in 0.8 seconds. So it ramped from I don't know, 50 or something to 100% in 0.8 seconds. So we're putting the 900 down on the street, and this weekend we might actually test. If I take the ramp completely out of it and just leave on 300 and it takes it and goes, then we know we need more power. So I'm gonna get to work on a few of these things. We'll probably do the gas tank. I'll start figuring out the nitrous bottles, everything else. We might do a whole separate video just on the doors, because we might take them completely off and then weigh them before and after and see how much weight we can save. Just still gonna make me cry because I think these things are over 100 pounds. Yeah, fiberglass doors are like 7 pounds.
Need some of those.
10 pounds, yeah. But we're not ready to just go full pro mod with this thing yet. But I will say that in my life, if I ever end up with a pro mod, we're doing all that shit. We're going super lightweight, fiberglass, everything. Like, I want to do that for the future. I want a purpose-built, no-prep car where it's super light so I can put the weight where I want it instead of working with what I've got. But I'm going to get this thing moved over. We're going to get it onto the new dollies and start figuring out what we need to go racing this weekend. Big thing is going to be how much weight can we lose. So let's get started on that. Alright, so the downside to this is that this gas tank, based on my math, weighs over 170 pounds. Even if it's over 150, over 100, it's still going to be a bear to kind of wrestle out. And I was super smart, and when I put this gas tank back in, we replaced the bolts with brand new bolts. So good news is they're not going to get stuck. Bad news is I used the longest bolts I could find, so there's a lot to be done there and unbolting. Yeah, I don't have all of my power tools and all that set up yet because we're still working on cleaning up the garage and making space and all that, but we've already made more space than we had. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, I'll show you. I'll put a camera out and show you. Like, we now, you know, the car is in here like sideways because I cleaned out this whole wall and everything else. And now we've got it on rollers so I can kind of push it around and do what I want to do. the flip side to this is once I get this out, not going to do it just now, just yet, but once I get all this out, then I'm going to have to start working on getting the rear cowl tracks reset, the DNR roll bar, all that kind of stuff. I should make a list. I'm probably going to make a list and like put it on the windshield or something so I don't forget, because I don't want to do all this work to lighten it and then not reset the cowl tracks and then not get the result that I'm looking for. So we'll go over how to do that and stuff when I get to that point too. Let me find some tools and get this gas tank out. So I got the gas tank hanging on the ground. That thing's heavy. I got to move that still. But another thing I wanted to do too was make what I'm calling my center line. Now, I have absolutely no idea if I'm correct in this or not. This is an idea that I had in my head, and I think this is how it works. So I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But measured out the wheelbase, 111 inches, which I then verified online. Yep, 111, which puts the center line at 55.5. So we go 55.5. So my theory here is that everything in front of this line adds to the weight of the front tires, and everything behind that line adds to the weight of the rear tires. Which is interesting because now that I've cut the tape, we still got some stuff in there from the dyno and whatnot. But if we look at the line here, where it is, the nitrous bottles are actually more towards the back than they are towards the front. So I might leave both of them in there. I don't know. Maybe we'll take one out. Actually, I think it'll tell me right on the bottle what it weighs. I think somewhere it does. No, maybe that's the small bottles. Or no, there you go. Okay, so I'll focus in on that. Ooh, focus. So full, they weigh 33.5 pounds. Empty, 18.5. So two of them full. This focus is killing me today. 33.5 is 67 pounds. So I can cut 30 pounds, 33.5 pounds. Or if I somehow find a way to stand this bottle mount up and get it back there, I think, based on my theory here, that will add weight to the rear of the car. Now, it also doesn't entirely work that way, because honestly, the more weight I could have right here, the better. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One of a really effective way is putting weight actually on the rear axle, the rear housing itself. That's a very effective way, because then you're not putting weight in the body. It's on unsprung weight. It doesn't require movement. It's just hanging off the rear axle and digging the rear tire in the ground. Now we've got the weights up here. Those are going to stay. I like where those are at. The higher and farther back you can get the weight, the better. So I think I still might go ahead, because if we think about it, 33 plus, if those are 17 pounds a piece, that's 34. 33 plus 64, look at me, or 33 plus 34, sorry, is 67. I'm trying to do public math. If those door pieces, those crash bars, weigh 17 pounds a piece like the internet said, I'm not sure. Like I said, we'll probably take a day to focus on the doors themselves, but I want to finish getting this gas tank out of here. I got to make my list so that way I don't forget to do anything, because there's going to be things that need to be done and need to be done in a certain order, like adjusting all that rear suspension stuff. Once we've got the weight where we want it to be, then we'll set it down on the ground. I'll put Mallory in the seat with some weights in it to make her weigh what I weigh, and then we'll be able to adjust the rear. So this is all for the
the track that we're going to this weekend. Now the flip side is when we go to Darlington, where the surface is incredibly horrible, that gas tank is going to have to go back in. It probably wouldn't hurt to have both bottles in. I don't know. We'll play with the 1 bottle, 2 bottle idea for a little bit. I'll kind of bounce it off my head because, in all reality, the more that I think about it, this is not the best judge because the weight is still there. So it does still apply to the front tires. If I had some scales, we could really make this easier. But just to kind of give you an idea, you know, what the front of that weighs and what the back of that. Right now, well, when it had the gas tank in it, it was about 50-50 front to rear. It was slightly nose heavy, like maybe like 51 or 50 and a half and 49 or something like a half back there. But just to give you an idea, 3740, you know, that's over 3,000 is 1,500, so 1,800 is 36. So this front weighs over 1,800 pounds, and so does the rear. But we'll keep working on it and get it figured out. So if you can you get in the car, babe? I won't put you on camera stuff. You're in your pajamas. But what I do want to do is, let's go ahead and see.
It smells so good.
Go ahead, turn the nitrous button on, and then the left button on the steering wheel is the nitrous. Click it one time, click it again, click it. Okay, I don't see any fuel leaking anywhere. It's obviously coming from somewhere. Shut the nitrous button off. It's obviously coming from somewhere, but I don't. It looks like it's hitting here and like running down, but I don't see anything leaking anywhere. Unless maybe it was just for me pulling stuff out and the jet change and whatnot, but I feel like, I don't know. Turn the nitrous button on and click it again. One more time. Alright, shut it off. I don't know where it's coming from, but it definitely smelled like fuel, and that's expensive fuel to be wasting. Oh.
Yeah. What you doing?
We're gonna do a little maintenance, if you will. When this thing with the solid mounts in it just rattles and shakes horribly, so it'll shake things loose. So this is not the first time I've done this, but it's just a good habit to get into between the races and stuff. And of course this one's too big because the fan's there. No.
What's that? You know what? There's a bunch in the house too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5/16.
They're not that long either.
Yeah, I just need the regular one that doesn't have the handle on it and stuff. But I just wanted to check some of that stuff out, and we're gonna go over that. Like you saw that, I don't know. I see fuel puddling up, but I don't know why. Can't seem to quite figure out why. I talked to Nitrous Express when I first set all this up, and they said there would be no issue mounting the solenoids upside down. So they're the experts. I took their word for it. I have an issue with the bottles. So in order to move the nitrous bottles or stand it up like I want to and all that kind of stuff, I'm probably going to need a new bottle bracket, a new mount, and I don't know that we're going to get one in time for this weekend. So kind of put a pause on that. I can still pull the other bottle out to save the weight, but we'll have to figure that kind of stuff out. So I figured what I would do is do some maintenance, and I guess we'll kind of talk about the plans for this year, because we haven't done any of that on video yet. That kind of stuff. as far as what we're doing. And I know we've talked about, you know, what's the possibilities and everything else, and maybe no Prep Kings and that kind of stuff. And now that they've got their schedule out, that makes it a little easier. So I definitely think we will be running some no Prep Kings races, but maybe not the entire series. I did the math on what it would cost to run the entire series, run 2 classes. I did it based off of the fuel average of the RV, and then like I did the math on the miles on every trip, and it ended up, long story short, is it ended up totaling, what was it, over 30,000?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. And I think that, you know, I think that I could possibly raise some of that money, like through sponsorships and that kind of stuff. And I had an idea for the Dodger, which we still might do just for no Prep Kings, just for the Dodger, for the sake of it, because we might also be using the Dodger for more than no Prep Kings. We'll get into that in a minute. But last year, what I had done when we went to Cletus and Cars down in Florida, we went to the burnout contest with the Dodger. Some people had said, hey, we want to pitch in on gas money and so on and so forth. So if you guys ever noticed, all the names that are on the Dodger, what we did is we told everybody, all right, cool, if you guys want to throw some gas money in, doesn't matter what amount, all that kind of stuff, just whoever donated, we took whatever they wanted and put it on a sticker and brought everybody along for the trip with us. So Mallory printed a whole bunch of stickers, and it was supposed to be for the Cletus and Cars thing. We ended up just leaving it on there all year. I thought it was a pretty cool thing. The Cletus and Cars thing didn't work out quite the way that I was hoping to. Mostly just like we never got to, just the way the event was set up and everything, and it was like one of their first ones. I think it was the first one at the Freedom Factory, actually. So we never got to like tell that story, you know what I mean? We never got to meet with the fans and stuff. We were parked in an area, like all the competitors were parked in an area where the fans couldn't come and all that kind of stuff. So
That was something we were really excited about too.
yeah, it was. And just unfortunately, you know, I don't know, maybe since it's changed, but at the time that didn't work out. So back to what we were talking about, because apparently I can work and talk somewhat. At least I can get these valve covers off. I have to find, you know, when I went in the shop the other day, I couldn't find my feeler gauges. So I'm going to find those. I just want to run through the valves real quick. Maybe not, you know, obviously not have to set them if not necessary. But I'll pull all the plugs out. We'll put new plugs in it to go racing this weekend and all that. But anyways, back to the plans. So there's a lot of no prep races this year. Like they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Everybody's throwing one. You know, all across the country. Everything else. Even our local track is doing a no prep. I think they're doing a no prep night on like Thursday nights, like once a month.
Really?
So that'll be nice. Like that'll be nice to catch because it's an hour away. Like we can just go down there, you know what I mean, with the Tahoe open trailer, run down there, you know, go have some fun and go from there. But there is about 1.5 million no prep races this year, and I think one of the big problems, or at least what I see as a problem, is that they are all super maybe not super high, but they all cost quite a bit. So any of the races across the country you look at, you're going to spend at minimum a $200 buy for small tire. Some as high as 3, 4, 5. I even saw 700.
Ouch.
Yeah, like, and it's cool and all, but let's be real. Like, what we're racing against. Granted, I know we can save some weight here. This thing weighs 3,700 pounds. I'm sure we could get it down to 34, 33, something like that, maybe, I don't know. But, you know, we're racing purpose-built, no prep cars, and, you know, I've been building this car to go no prep racing, but it's not a ground-up, purpose-built, no prep car. Like, the fact of the matter is, we're probably not going to win a lot of those races. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I enjoy racing and I enjoy going, so it, you know, you don't have to win to enjoy yourself.
Well, I'll be straight up. At $200, $300, up to $700 a race, and I have issues with that.
Right.
That's
So,
expensive.
It's very expensive. So, and then you count, you know, maybe that's a Saturday, maybe you do some street action on Friday, that's another 200, 300, whatever. Like, if you do 200 on Friday, 200 on Saturday every weekend, 400, 8, that's $1,600 in a month in just buy-ins. Now, granted, most normal people aren't going to do that. Most normal people don't have a YouTube channel where, like, they also kind of have to do that. But, you know, that's not typically going to be the case. So, what I've decided, a lot of people have been asking, and I've decided to bring back the SHITBOX No Preps this year. Part of it is incredibly selfish, but I think that selfish need also helps other people as well. So, wings are going to be here soon.
Yay!
So what we're going to do is, I've sat down, I've gone through the list, I've tried to figure everything out, and right now I am in planning for 5, 6, 7, depends on how it pans out, SHITBOX races this year, about 1 per month. And I know it gave a lot of people an opportunity to race that maybe wouldn't have normally gotten that opportunity, or just flat out, like, the amateur classes are a $30 buy-in, which we might possibly up this year, but if we do, it's not going to be by much. And then the pro classes are a $100 buy-in. So the pro is the regular heads up, straight up, no prep, like, you know. The amateur is, if you guys have ever seen the videos, I run around as king shit and I give people the back tire or a car length or 3 or 4 car lengths, and I even up races and we have fun. It's more about having fun and enjoying racing than winning large sums of money. So part of this comes from, like, a selfish need, because if I want to go racing every weekend, I can't afford a $200-300 buy-in Friday and Saturday. Like,
But I'm sure you're not the only one.
right, and I'm not the only one, so that's where I say, like, it's kind of selfish, but the other flip side to it is it's not entirely selfish, because other people kind of want the same thing. And I thought that after last year and proving that it worked and everything, that there would be a bunch of people that run out and try to copy it. And number one, you can't really copy the SHITBOX thing, because you got to have king shit, and you got to, you know, the amateur class is really the star of the show. The pro classes, we just do it just because it's a good opportunity for local guys to race. But nobody really did. Everybody still wants to do $200, $300, $400 buy-ins. And believe me, it's much easier to just go race than it is to try to go throw a race and race in it on top of that. So what I'm working on now is getting a bunch of local guys together, or, you know, semi-local, some not even local at all. But there's going to be a few people that I'm going to try to get to make the commitment to race just about the whole series. It's not a series like a point series, but, you know, if we have 7 races, you know, can you race 5 out of the 7? And they're going to be guys that are going to race in some of the classes, but are also going to help me throw the race, do different jobs, help me have the car together. You know, you might even see some of them driving the car around. They might bring it up to the line, because I'm not sure if I'm flagging it this year or not, or there's a lot that still needs to be figured out. But I'm going to get some help from guys, but it's also going to allow me to help some of those guys who have been saying, hey, I really want to travel and go racing this year. That will give me the opportunity to help those guys and say, all right, come on, I can help you out. Come on over and we'll make it happen. So I'm still going to race other races. Like, we're not planning stuff on, you know, dig or die weekends or some of those big race weekends. Honestly, I mean, I've tried to look at some of the different schedules and stuff and stay away and stay in different areas, because we're going to go down to Tennessee. We're going to go out to Ohio. You know, so from Tennessee to Ohio and Delaware, if you drew like a triangle of those 3 places.
You did it backwards for the camera, though. So yeah.
Whatever. But if you drew a triangle of where I live and then those places, like pretty much in that area, that triangle is where we're going to go. And it's also going to allow me to go places that are 4 hours, 5 hours away, instead of every trip being 8, 10 plus hours. We're still going to make some of those 8, 10 plus hour trips, but not as many, at least I would hope. So that's kind of the game plan. I will probably be running this. We're going to have 2 small tire classes. We're going to have the FPM, which is any chassis, any power adder, you know, doesn't matter. 29.5, 10.5 non-W would be the max tire size for that. And then we're also going to do a small block nitrous small tire, which is going to be no tube chassis, back half allowed, maximum 28 10.5 non-W. And that's where like the I posted that on Facebook, and some people are like, oh, blah, blah, setting yourself up. Like, I have a big block, so I gotta run in the pro mod class. I gotta run FPM, so I can't run the small block nitrous. But I feel like there's a lot of guys that can. And from what I've seen, there's been already a very large reaction to, like, yeah, I want to go race that. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll bring the Dodger and run the amateur class, like the, you know, this the tailgate trouble. I don't want to give away too much information because I haven't announced everything yet, but there'll be some stuff coming there. You know, there was also a suggestion on Facebook. I don't know, maybe you guys, the way we ran the SHITBOX Showdown class, which is like the all-encompassing small tire of the amateur classes, is when you win one, then you're never allowed to race it again. You got to move up to pros. So now that we have some different pro options, I think that's still a good thing. Somebody suggested if you win the SHITBOX Showdown, then you race King Shit, and you got to beat King Shit to go into pro class, which I don't know. That's like extra wear and tear on the car. But I mean, maybe we'll do something like that, but we'll mix it up. It's about having fun, and it's going to give me an opportunity to kind of help some guys out, really help a lot of folks out, help them out with travel, bring them on as a part of the team. It'll be a mix of guys. It'll be some fast guys that are going to run, you know, FPM or nitrous small block, or, you know, there's going to be some guys that run SHITBOX classes, and eventually we took a wing break because I forgot this camera only records like 15 minutes at a time or something. I don't know. Something happened. But I was saying, first and foremost, Rick Ross hit me up. I will put Wingstop straight down the side of this car. Alright, get at me. But I was saying we're going to have some other guys, you know what I mean, come in that are going to run the different classes. Some folks, you know, on the team to help out and help make me, or help get these events running smoothly and everything else. And ultimately, I think at the end is just like, I'm still going to race other races. I'm still going to go places. I'm still going to hang out with my friends. I'm still going to race on the street. I'm still going to do big events. I'll still, you know, work in No Prep Kings where I can, where it's local and everything else. And but the only way that we're going to, at least I think right now, make this season successful and keep these things going and keep pushing and everything else is for me to do some of my own races. So hopefully that helps a lot of you guys out too. I know that, you know, we're not going super far across the country and everything else, and maybe we will, but like last year we did a few of them in Ohio, and then now we're going to spread out and do them in a larger area. And if that keeps working, then maybe next year we'll keep pushing it out even further and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get back to work on this because I would like to find my feeler gauges, which I can't find. I might have to go buy some more tomorrow, so it might be another trip to Harbor Freight. But I want to pull all the plugs. I want to check the lash on all these valves. We're going to put new plugs in it. I either got to go back down to the dyno or whatever and go get my computer charger. I was hoping he said something about coming up this way. Maybe we can meet up. I'll have to get back up with him. But I'm starting to think that there's a couple things that are causing some of our problems. And looking at the nitrous bottle angle and everything, like, it just seems fine. I don't know, but I think part of it is gear ratio. I think if we go back to like a 410, honestly, on a good surface, we can go back to a 456 and let this thing eat. But we're not going to be able to do that on the crappy surfaces like Darlington and stuff like that. So we got to kind of pick and choose what we want to do there. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this setup, but it has its disadvantages with, like, you know, like Darlington, for example. A powerful, torquey nitrous car does all of its work before 300 feet. After that, you're just kind of along for the ride. It's just going to do what it does. And that's where the advantage in that particular combination is. The advantage in a turbo combination is being able to run a 2060 foot, but still have a high 5-second pass because you can mile an hour out the back door. We can't really do that. So just trying to make this work the most efficient way I possibly can. Maybe we'll look at converter again. I don't know. We'll have to get some things figured out. But I'm going to get back to work on it, and we're going to try some things in this weekend when we're going to go race. I want to look at the computer, and I'm going to spend some time sitting down going through, and I have before, but I just want to make sure again, looking at everything in that computer to make sure there is nothing else that's like pulling any timing or anything that helps kind of explain why our power is dropping off. If I can't find anything in the computer, throws me back to gear ratio, converter, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But that's the game plan for now. We're going to keep working. I'm going to try to, now that we've got the garage set up and it's not completely done yet, I still got to get more stuff out of here and everything else. I'm going to try to get more consistent with the video uploads. Part of that struggle is, like, I want to start working on the El Camino, but like I said earlier, it doesn't make sense to tear it apart and leave it sitting here half torn apart and then it's in the way and we can't move it. Unfortunately, I don't have a big building where we could just put everything in and just leave it where it's at. So I got to try to be smart, and part of what I've been doing in the last week, I've been setting up these races, I've been cleaning out this garage, you know, working on new SHITBOX products. We've got all the stuff back in stock, all shirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff, hats, back at SHITBOXSupply.com. And I got to be a little bit more careful about how I plan things so I don't put myself in a position where something is stuck, we're waiting on parts, now it doesn't move. I think what I'll probably end up doing is going to Harbor Freight and grabbing some more of these dollies too, and maybe just every time a vehicle comes in the garage we'll put it on dollies, and that'll help us move things around and that kind of stuff. So
They're really helpful.
yeah, very helpful. It's creating an extra pain in the butt because now it's just like extra steps we got to do every time just to get a vehicle in and out, but we'll figure it out, you know. And then maybe one day we'll put a big building out here, or we'll find somewhere to rent or something, or I don't know. We'll figure it all out, because what I would really love to have is all of my vehicles in one place with all of my tools, with everything. Like, I don't have any fabrication equipment here. We don't even have 220 in the garage, so I would have to get that done to even get a welder out here and that kind of stuff. So just working on it step at a time, and hopefully keep working on this thing, doing what we can. It's kind of boring too. Like, the wintertime just sucks because I can do stuff, but then it's cold and snowy, or there's salt all over the roads, or it's been raining here lately. Like, so I can't test the things that I'm doing. But it looks like this weekend in the Carolinas, there where we're going, it's going to be like a high of 61, 62. So it should be a good day, and hopefully we'll go some rounds, get a handle on this thing, and we'll start figuring out, because we're pretty close to this thing, you know, leaving with all 300 off the line, the full 900 horsepower off the hit. The problem is that power's going down, so it's not staying. We got to figure out how to keep it around. But once I figure that out, off the line it's taking it. And if that's the case, then we're either gonna have to figure something out about more nitrous, which means another dyno session, but probably probably with a much more experienced tuner or somebody that knows more about this setup to keep me from hurting it, all that kind of stuff. So that's gonna be it for now.
Back to work.
I'll do another video probably about the doors. Maybe we'll do a whole, you know how much fiberglass doors weigh?
I think something was like 7 pounds, something like
I
that.
just looked. It wasn't 7, but it's 12 pounds. And
Need that.
I don't want to put fiberglass doors on it. Like if what they're saying online is right, that those weigh 111 pounds or some crap like that, and then going to 12 pounds, that's 100 pounds. That's 200 pounds off the car. Like that is huge. But I just can't see myself doing that to this car. You know, if we do, then it's just going to be, we might as well just take every panel out of it. We might as well gut the thing completely, make it completely a pro mod, and I don't know. I like it the way it is. So we'll see. See what happens. Until next time.